Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the VOD Squad. We're back for episode 24. Guys, it's episode 24.
Wow. Hey, I'm just curious. When did we actually start doing this? We don't remember what the date was when we actually started doing this.
It was the first Wednesday in August.
Ooh, we're coming up on a year.
Almost.
Won't be too long, will it?
Yeah.
Wow. Unfortunately, we won't have 52 episodes by then.
No, but that's okay.
Okay.
And on that note, I'm Clyde.
Hi, Clyde.
Hi. And that is Matt.
Hi.
Hi, Matt.
How you doing?
I guess we can introduce Mike. Michael Aston.
Hi, Mike.
And Jimmy Trammell.
Hello, everybody.
How you guys doing this week?
It's been a hard day.
Yeah?
It's hey, really?
I know.
Really?
It's family visiting, lots of travel for today for a meeting, basically where I live, but made me drive back and forth between here and work 4 times, and things messing up and phones needing updates, and it's been a day.
That's no fun.
That's all right. No big deal.
Well, hopefully we will be able to get you past that with an hour of spirited conversation.
Hey, that always brightens my day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I look forward to Wednesdays now. Wednesday used to be that day that you just like, meh, it's Wednesday. It's not quite Friday. Not as bad as Monday, but, Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Central. Actually, got something to do.
A nice time to have therapy.
Is that what we are? Are we therapy for you?
Kind of. As we've talked about before, is the whole reason I kind of wanted to do this show is because give me a chance to rant about stuff.
Well, of course, we accept your rants whenever you want to go.
And because you guys have the ability to just hang up.
That's true.
If it gets too much. Power. So, not that I want to put that idea into your head, because next time, or probably as we're talking about HBO Now today, we can you're probably going to hang up on me halfway through. Then I'll just be sitting here
not
going.
Intentionally. It will happen, but it won't be my fault. Skype will do it. Just randomly, it'll just go, nope, no, you're done.
That is the nature of Skype.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that's not what it's designed to do.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know. That's what I was wondering. Okay. It seems like from every other podcast, they seem to think that's like the design, or it's.
I think it's got some special designs to, mess with you, mentally. So you have a certain amount of, wow, it's so good when it's working well. And then when it messes up, it makes you like, and then you need to have it back. It's that kind of push-pull thing. I think it's psychological warfare on Skype's part.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
On that note, with Microsoft products that don't seem to be up to snuff, should we get into the news?
Sure.
Let's do
so,
it.
Guess what? We have a Microsoft story. It's Xbox One is getting Beam streaming. They got their big update for the Xbox One. It's given it the new interface that everybody seems to be raving about. I haven't seen it yet. But the one thing the cord cutters would be interested in is that we actually have the ability to use Microsoft's brand new service called Beam. Basically, it's Twitch, but by Microsoft. And so you're going to be able to do your streaming of your games right off of the device without any more than a Microsoft account, which you already have. You're playing on their device. So,
quick question: does anybody need this update?
By need, you mean is it required?
Can anybody actually use it?
I have an Xbox One.
But are you going to use the Beam service?
I don't know. So here's the thing about, I bought my Xbox One because I was like super excited about the whole, now I can't even remember the name of the little thingy that
the Kinect?
Yes.
It's so good you forgot it.
Exactly. I was super excited about the Kinect integration, the home theater integration, and the idea of being able to like talk to the machine and ask it to put on this show and do all of that kind of stuff. So I bought the Xbox One, and I tried really hard to use the home or whatever they call it that does the integration with your TV services and your streaming services, and found it to be
Cortana?
relatively lacking
Oh.
and relatively useless. It just didn't do everything that it was supposed to do, at least not very well. So I don't know. I very seldom ever use my Xbox anymore. I have a game that I play with my daughter, Lego Star Wars, and that is the extent of it. I do that, maybe once a week or once every other week, and that's about it. Otherwise, I game on my PC. I stream directly on my TV. I do use it for Blu-rays. It is my Blu-ray player. So really,
well, at least you get some use out of it.
Yeah, my Xbox is a Blu-ray player and a very seldom game player.
Yeah, see, I was late to the Xbox 360 party, and it's still sitting over there collecting dust, and I have no reason to pick up a one or a PlayStation 4. I can't find the justification to spend the money, so personally.
I guess the big question there is Beam going to be a Twitch competitor or not?
Well, they say it's going to be a Twitch competitor. But that's what I was saying. Does anybody need this?
Say, right?
Is anybody going to use it?
Am I going to have to use a Microsoft product to stream to it, or can I use OBS, or can I do something else? I don't, there's the questions I have if we're going to do something like that.
Honestly, this article that I posted in our doc about an hour ago is the first time I've ever heard of this service.
I think I heard about it a week ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I certainly won't use the Beam. I will take advantage of some of the other features, hopefully. I do like the Xbox One. I think it's a good device. It's just lacking in some areas. So some of these enhancements, like improved multitasking and a better UI and stuff like that, those things could help and make me happier using the device. But yeah, as far as Beam, no.
Yeah, and the name itself does not instantly give you an idea of what kind of. When I saw Beam, I was thinking, oh, Xbox One in your house, sending content from your devices or from streaming from device to device within your home. And then I read the article and I went, oh.
They actually already have a little bit of that on the Xbox One and a Windows 10 machine. You can stream.
Exactly, and that's what I thought they were referring to by Beam. And nope, it's not. But
does anybody remember the PlayStation emulator known as Bleem?
Yeah.
I think the only PlayStation emulator I know of is PCX and PCX2.
The thing about something like this is that people that are hardcore, like Halo gamers and stuff like that, and again, like Gears of War, things that are exclusive to Xbox One or that are console-specific games, this is a good way for the people that are into streaming their gaming sessions to stream those, right?
Right.
So it makes it easy, and it does provide a viable competitor to Twitch in the console-specific games like Halo and things like that.
Well, you have the streaming that's built into the PlayStation 4. Even the Nintendo Switch has a share button, which currently does just pictures, but it's going to end up doing videos that you're going to be able to upload to YouTube. So it makes sense for them to compete with this. And if they can make their own and get a corner of the market, it sounds just like Microsoft. So good for them.
Yep. All right. Next up.
We have another story. Looks like those lucky Apple people got an update recently to tvOS 10.2, and it did a lot of little things. My favorite thing being the Apple FS, and but the one little thing that might affect cord cutters is that it looks like it broke the with the mirroring capability of it using. You're using, what is it called? What is the software called?
AirPlay.
AirPlay, that's right.
Mhm.
It looks like they updated the protocol, and if your older software that you were using to AirPlay to it isn't updated with the most recent version of the protocol, it's going to stop working. So check your updates to see if they've got one that works with tvOS 10.2.
Yeah. And just to note, this is for anybody out there that's saying, hey, this is a malicious article, it's on macworld.com.
Well, it's just telling you to update because the file system got updated.
Yeah.
That's the reason why it breaks.
So basically, the moral of the story is if you don't know if your apps are going to work, don't update it. And that's really all there is to it.
Now, can you avoid the update? I don't know.
I mean, that's what it said in the article. I don't know. I guess, Jimmy, can you avoid the updates? Is it something that it's going to eventually just force it on you?
No, you could choose the update. I mean, it's you just update if you want, right? I mean, only if. But there is a setting where you can set it to automatically update, right? And if you do that, then you'll get it regardless, right? But you know, all it's doing really is just updating the file system. With this update for all the iOS systems, Apple put out a new file system for all the iOS devices.
Yay!
And yeah, and it was just to improve. It was just to improve things, you know, to improve it improves the performance of all of it.
You sure it's not intentional? They didn't put it out to intentionally break stuff and force people to use their own alternatives?
Well, I mean, they have to update everything to. I mean, it'd be like anybody comes out with a new file system, right? Yeah. The programs aren't going to work unless you update the programs.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not terribly difficult for the app makers to do the updates. And most of the big app makers have already done it. It's just something that has to actively be done. And take the combination of having enough staff and development resources to get that taken care of, even if it's not significant, it isn't necessarily completely trivial either. And then you also have to go through the whole check-in process. So that's the problem with Apple, and one of the big problems, if you've ever had to deal with releasing software to Apple devices, is that it has to go through their entire approval process, which for a priority company, that can be relatively quick. If you're a nobody or a small business, that can take an extremely long time and be very difficult. And, you could suffer rejections for absolutely trivial things. So that's really going to be the issue for most people, I think, is just a matter of getting through that approval process in time for this update with the new file system and stuff.
And the update's already out. So,
right.
And the problem with that is the fact to the end user, when that app goes away, they're not going to say, oh, Apple, you need to hurry. You're holding it up. They're just going to be mad at the app developer and saying, hey, why haven't you put this out yet? And that while the app developer's just kind of stuck there twiddling his thumbs waiting for it to be approved, But that's the big problem with the gatekeeper kind of mentality process. But, hey, that's the way they do business. And if you want to play ball...
You could always use open source and let your identity be stolen, but I mean,
yeah. Like I said, that's the thing. Right? If you want to play ball in this ecosystem, those are the rules you have to play by. So,
Sure. I mean, I guess the point I was trying to make there. I mean, there's always a cost, no matter which way the spectrum you go, right? I mean, it's just weighing out the costs and see which one's better. But Yeah, I agree with what Michael was saying. You know, for the small developer, this is definitely a nuisance, right? And a hoop that maybe some of them might not have been ready for. But you know, for the more larger first party apps, I guess you'd say, or whatever, or the larger app developers, yeah, they're already going to be ready for it and have it, you know, approved right away. Mm-hmm. And to the end users that use mostly those apps, you know, you're not going to notice much any difference at all. It's only if you got a favorite app out there that is from a small development shop, then, you know, well, it might be a while before you get that app back, right?
I suspect there will be enough push that all the developers will get it as fast as possible, and Apple will hopefully put some priority on those.
Hopefully so.
All right.
Especially with WWDC coming up, right?
That's true. All right, next story we have Comcast is working on another cord-cutting solution, as long as you already are a Comcast customer. This one is called Xfinity Instant TV, and it's for either for $15 a month or up to $40 a month. It sounds like it gives you a streaming solution, but you have to be a Comcast broadband subscriber. We haven't got an idea yet of what kind of channels you can get on it, but this sounds like a really wonderful solution if what your choices are for broadband is Comcast. It's kind of sad that you can't get it if you're not, though.
Well, but if you remember back about 5 months ago, they were talking that Comcast and Google were working together to bring a Sling competitor.
I don't remember that, actually.
It was I think it was Comcast. I may be wrong, but we'll go back and find out. Maybe you're right. But I believe that was the case. So this would just be the Comcast only Us Two app that is basically going to fill in the spot that Xfinity was supposed to fill, right? That's the way I read it.
Yeah, it's it's not necessarily available everywhere that Comcast is too, right? According to this article, it looks like it's going to be a limited subset of Comcast's total user base. So
50 million homes.
Yeah, just having Comcast as your provider doesn't necessarily give it to you. So but that's the way a big company like this tends to do things, right? They want to go out and in a stepped approach so they can kind of, test the waters and make sure it's something people want. They also are going to be doing, testing their hardware, make sure their hardware and software is up to snuff with a small subset. So,
and I'm going to say, and one thing to note was it said this is coming third quarter. Third quarter. So that's like October. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's already too late. If it's not out right now, it's already too late. Well, having to wait till the end of the year.
I mean, lots of competition by then.
They're gonna have some people that are gonna use it just because they are Comcast people that use nothing but Comcast. I don't know how they're gonna get them over that hump of, hey, the stuff that we already provide you, here, give us some more money so that you can get it someplace else.
And did I miss where they had their cloud DVR?
No, you didn't. Nope. There's no mention of that.
Well, Comcast doesn't even want you to have a regular DVR. You think they're going to give you a cloud DVR?
The hope is that the subscribers will eventually upgrade to Comcast X1 platform.
Well, a question I got here too about this service. Okay, so you have to be a internet broadband subscriber in order to subscribe to this service, right?
Yep.
I don't know. Does net neutrality come into play there at all?
No. Good question. Well, are they giving? That's the thing. Are they giving you priority? Are they prioritizing your traffic if you're going to their site? And that'll be the big question.
I think the answer is no, because all your net neutrality thoughts and rules are basically being thrown out the window currently.
Thrown out the window, exactly. Yeah.
So no, it's not.
Somebody hit the deleted button on all those laws and rules.
So if I'm an AT&T subscriber, they don't want my money. Is what you're saying, right?
Well, I mean, like I said, take it from the perspective of this is a big company that is kind of a stodgy, slow-moving legacy type company. I mean, they're used to utilities and limited regions and all that kind of stuff. So where it is now isn't necessarily where it'll be in 6 months or a year after they've released. They may say, okay, this worked, people liked it, and let's go ahead and release it to the general public everywhere,
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me that they're not even targeting their entire user base. And that, to me, is a good sign that they are not finished with what this is going to be.
Yeah. What I'm curious about is I am a Comcast broadband subscriber, technically.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm business. So does that count? Can I pay them $15? Because that isn't laid out, but I'm curious about that to see if that's something I'll be able to try out or not. But
I think the answer to that is no.
You do?
Because they usually do. I mean, on the business side, they will offer the same stuff. Because I can get cable. I could get Comcast cable. It's there. I personally can't get it because they will not put Comcast business TV in a home. It's meant for offices and buildings, for actual businesses. That's the only sticking point there. But, I mean, their voice and everything else, all their other services are available for business, but I don't know if they're going to make this available. So, I guess I'll keep an eye on that.
And like Fitz says, business in the front and party in the back.
Yep. I thought it was liquor in the front and poker in the back.
Oh, wait. Hey now.
But I don't have a gaming license, so it doesn't matter. All right. Should we move on to Walmart? What is Walmart doing? Every time I turn around, Walmart's doing something.
Well, Walmart has this great little product called Vudu, which almost nobody uses unless your name is Tom Merritt. And it's a nice little product that allows you to, purchase your movies just like you can do with Amazon or with iTunes or any of those other providers that allows you to literally digitally own some and stream videos. They have their own called Vudu, which has a lot of different titles on it. They have had the ability for you to take your current, DVD or whatever, send it into them, and have them basically give you credit for, give you a movie version of it for a small fee. That's digital. Now they are allowing you to do the exact same thing, but you don't have to send your disc in. You can just scan the barcode, UPC barcode of the app of the video right at your home. Zap. Pay a small fee, $2 to $5, and you've got yourself the digital version from Vudu to stream whenever you want.
I wish they would have done this like 10 years ago before I got rid of my entire DVD and Blu-ray collection, because it was just taking up space, and I was never going to watch those physical discs ever again personally. So I basically got rid of everything. I wish, because I would have used this.
Now, this has got one really interesting thing about it, is that they use your phone, and your phone has to have a way of being able to determine your location, because they don't want you to walk into, say, Walmart, and take the brand new movie off the shelf, zap it with your phone, and go, haha, I'll spend $3 to get that at home for free, because I have to put that not purchased copy right back on the shelf. So it does actually track where you are when you're scanning in order to verify you are at your home address. That being said, people, I already hear how people work around.
Yeah, one of the things you mentioned there is key, right? It's $2 or $5, depending on the movie, to do this. So not only like take your whole collection and scan them, but then you pay for the right to do that. So that large collection, you may have thought that it was worth it for all of it, or you may have thought that it was worth it for some specific movies.
Right.
Especially, a lot of these movies can be picked up in the bin at Walmart right now for $2 to $5. So,
a lot of them can be purchased on Vudu right now for $5.
That's true. So it's how good of a deal this is.
It's a gimmick.
It is a bit of a gimmick, but
I mean, hey, it's one of those things that even if I never use the service, it's nice to know it's there. Yeah. That there's actually somebody willing to go out on a limb and say, you know what, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Because on Cord Killers, they brought up the whole MP3.com debacle. And it was essentially this with music, and that shut down that site. Does anybody remember MP3.com?
I actually avoided MP3.com
not really.
like the plague.
Yeah, most people have never heard of them because they tried this with music, and they got in trouble.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Well, they were doing it without permission. I bet you Walmart has got permission.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, I'm glad that somebody's willing to pick up this mantle again, and hopefully they've done it the right way. I mean, they've already got Vudu, so yeah.
I'm seriously considering trying Vudu because I kind of like picked my silo to go with Google, but I'm seriously considering it.
I tell you, Vudu is
works
great.
On everything.
Yeah, no, Vudu is actually really good. The app is used. I used it for a while before Netflix finally allowed you to start downloading stuff. I was using that because my coworker, he was one of those guys that every payday goes out and buys a bunch of movies. And he's been doing it for 20 years. He's got this giant library. And so they're all ultraviolet. So, and then Vudu started allowing you to set up your family where you allow like up to 5 accounts to share the library.
Nice.
So I was in his family. So like when I would travel, I would just look and see, look at my tablet and go, oh, yeah, I want that movie, download them. And then I've got them, I've got them for traveling. When I'm done, you just remove it. It's gone. Never had a problem streaming it. And the quality's good. So it's a great service.
Looking into it. I had a little bit of it's Walmart, though, kind of.
But that's the thing. It is now. It wasn't originally. Walmart purchased Vudu right before everybody else got out because Target used to be involved. I think Best Buy was involved. Ooh. And they all said, you know what, screw this, and they bailed. So now it's just Walmart.
Okay.
But
I don't know. To me, what I think would be a good business model, right? There's something along this line, except for, let's say if you went to the actual movie theater to watch the movie, right? And it had a barcode on the back of that and say, okay, for an extra $5, you could have a digital version of this movie, right? Where you could watch it at home if you wanted to, right? To me, that would be a viable way to do this kind of service.
And actually, that's, this service, I think that's where it's going to end up. They're going to get the rights from the, theaters when the theaters start finally feeling the pinch eventually, and they're going to say, okay, well, once you buy your ticket to the movie, then you can, download or pre-order your digital copy, right there at the theater. But
that'd be cool if I could walk out of the theater, scan my ticket, say, would you like to pre-order this movie for when it comes out, or maybe get an early release or some other kind of,
But as you mentioned, Vudu, in regards to like the silos, Vudu is kind of your best bet. Because it is everywhere. And we have seen it go through turmoil of companies say, you know what, I can't deal with this, and turning it over. Like at least 4 or 5 times now, there have been companies that have bought in and backed out And so we've seen that this is stable. They are committed, and all this stuff that I got from from Target, that now Target's no longer involved, it's still in my library. I didn't lose anything. It's just the name changed, you know?
Okay.
And so, I mean, that gives a little bit of confidence, but...
Okay. And we have one last story, and this story is special for Clyde. AMC is getting to launch a streaming service. It sounds wonderful.
Really?
It's going to be great.
Is it going to be good?
Oh, you know what? It's going to have, Walking Dead and Better Call Saul. It's going to be something you could stream all your stuff, and it's going to cost only $4.99 or maybe $6.99 a month.
Maybe.
That's a pretty good deal, right?
Yeah.
I would sign up for that service.
Yeah, that sounds great, except for the fact that it still requires a cable subscription.
Oh, I would not sign up for that service.
Does it have commercials?
What are they thinking?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So what are you paying for?
You're paying for the privilege to stream directly from AMC the shows that you've already paid for.
So you're paying for the service that you already get through the AMC app that you authenticate through your cable provider.
Apparently, I really have no idea why this is even happening.
And I can tell you. Number one, this is supposed to be commercial free, which the AMC app forces you to watch 1 million commercials. And
for commercial free?
Well, I mean, channel? I pay $3 to $4 a month for commercial free on Hulu.
Yeah, but that's like every show on Hulu, or almost every show on Hulu.
Yeah, and then also they're promising extra content. So, like, think of your webisodes,
aren't webisodes on the web?
Yeah, I'm saying as an example, that kind of stuff. They're promising extra stuff. So if you're a Walking Dead, you'll get more Walking Dead stuff. And what it's going to be, I don't know. This still sounds horrible because you don't get all the episodes.
All the back,
which is the problem with the AMC app to begin with. You can't catch up. They want you to catch up on the show that's now, coming out. But you can't watch those back episodes.
Was it only like the last 5 episodes?
Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's a couple from a bunch of different seasons, and there's no rhyme or reason. There's no consistency. Yes.
Yeah.
We need more information.
It just keeps getting worse.
That's why last season I tried to watch the beginning of season 2 for Better Call Saul. I realized I can do this with Sling TV. No, I couldn't because I was having all kinds of problems streaming the episode. So then I went to the AMC app and then found out, oh no, you can only watch the current episode. You can't watch the 2 that I couldn't get to play right on Sling. So that's why I just finished watching season 2 today, because this week it showed up on Netflix.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that makes me decide, okay, I'm gonna watch what's on Netflix.
Yeah, see, that's why for
Netflix, but I really want to see that, so I'm gonna buy it because then I don't have to deal with this other crap. I just own it.
That's why AMC shows, if it's something I'm interested in, I wait a year until it shows up on Netflix. Because then I literally watched the entire season 2 in the last 3 days.
Yep.
Because I could. No commercials, no stuttering, no nothing. I just play. Oh, I'm ready for another episode. Play. Come back. And it tells me, oh, you've watched these 3 episodes. And I think I fell asleep during that one, so I'm going to rewatch it and I'm going to fast forward.
Yep.
Which is another thing you can't do.
Then the Kinect can watch your eyelids droop and either alert you that you're getting drowsy or record where you
spell.
That's not creepy at all.
Pause it. Pause it.
They haven't implemented that feature, but they are recording it.
Yeah, I'm not putting a Kinect in my bedroom, no matter how much you try to convince me. I'm sorry. No,
I've got a Kinect in my living room. I did have the Xbox in my bedroom for a while, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to plug that in.
It's bad enough that this camera is in my bedroom, and there are times where I'm walking around and you look and go, wait, I swear I saw that blue light out of the corner of my eye.
It's the NSA.
Just to make sure you feel comfortable, most good hackers can make sure that light doesn't come on.
Oh yeah, I know how to turn it off. But
so that being said, yeah,
that's why this napkin sits here, because it lives on top of my camera.
I bought mine, and mine came with a little flap that I can just turn right down like that.
Matt, where'd Matt go? Oh, there you are. All right.
I paid extra for that.
Yeah. See, the last thing I'll say about this AMC app is they better give you the ability to fast forward. That was the thing that just pissed me off the most, is I kept having to rewatch those episodes of Better Call Saul because it would crap out at the last couple minutes.
Oh.
At the big part of the episode, it would just die. And you can't fast forward. So you would have to sit there and sit through all the commercials and cross your fingers that it doesn't crap out again at the same spot, which inevitably it would. And then you just wasted 3 hours trying to watch a 30-minute episode. And that's why I gave up.
You can't fast forward. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, every other service out there allows you to fast forward. Everyone.
I mean, what is it? Reality? Yeah. True life?
No, so on the my brain isn't fully
on demand stuff. It's no, you can't fast forward.
Yeah, I was going to say on PlayStation View, if I DVR'd it, I can fast forward. But if I'm watching it catch up, they call it catch up or on demand, then you can't fast forward. So the cool thing
doesn't it depend on the provider though? Doesn't it depend on the provider? Because I know Sci-Fi allows you to fast forward.
I don't know. So the PlayStation View, the few channels that I actually occasionally use, what I find is that for example, HGTV, I can favorite a show and that basically adds it to the DVR for the last 28 days worth of episodes. I can also go to the guide and I can just pick a show that has been shown previously and I can watch it, and they call it catching up. And it's not the on-demand version. It's just it's basically because everything that is there is already recorded on their DVR, right? So they just stream it. But if you do it that way without having previously favorited it prior to you watching it, then it will not let you. It will not let you fast forward. So it's effectively on demand.
Okay. It still sounds like a crappy service. I'm sorry. It's just, it's ridiculous. They better have something. I mean, if they had the whole full back catalog of everything AMC's ever made, and they had the ability for you to pick your shows and fast forward, and maybe, I don't know. It's still $7 a month for that. I don't know.
No, I am not convinced that this is a good anything. So
I'm pretty convinced it's not a good anything.
Which is unfortunate.
There's a few things I wanted to mention. Something we don't do a lot of, the kind of up and coming shows, what's happening in the streaming world. So I wanted to kind of talk about Netflix specifically. There's a lot going on in April, and the things that caught my eye as the typical geek guy that loves everything geeky. Buffy, Angel, and X-Files are all three leaving Netflix next month. So
X-Files.
Yeah, exactly. Some good shows, some enjoyable things. They are, on the other hand, taking good advantage of their Disney connection, and they're getting a lot of the kids shows are updating. Liv and Maddie, BFG.
That's the movie
coming out. Yep. So that's part of their Disney partnership, right? Like they get movies at least, and obviously most of the TV shows shortly after they come out of theaters. So that's pretty cool. And Secret Life of Pets is one that the kids kind of wanted to see, but we never managed to get out. So that'll be on here next month as well. Similarly, Amazon's getting a bunch of new stuff. Tommy Boy was the one thing that kind of stood out to me. I remember liking that movie a lot.
It was good.
Now, I haven't seen it in 20 years or whatever, but it was...
Yeah.
It made me laugh a lot then. The other one was There Will Be Blood, which I don't know what that movie is, but...
I bet there will be blood.
I bet there will be blood, but I can't think about that without thinking of Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. And so hopefully it's not your blood, but there will be blood. So go kill someone, sign that horse.
Yeah, and if anybody hasn't seen Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, stop what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean,
go watch that.
You can come back, check this on YouTube. Just go. That was one of the most amazing things I had ever seen.
It's so good.
That show, that right there was responsible for me going, oh, I kind of like Patrick, what's his face. Maybe I will check out How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, it was... anyways, those two are coming out on Amazon. Some show called Catastrophe, which is apparently a very popular...
Oh, Catastrophe is great. It was on Amazon for a long time.
Yeah, it gets good critic scores. Metacritic scores are very high, and
I think
that's coming to Amazon. The new season.
Oh, the new season. Good. Yeah,
that's apparently good. It'll be there in April.
Yeah. For those of you that haven't seen it, it's basically there's a guy, he is an American that works in England. He has like a one night stand because he'd go out there on business. He had a one night stand with a lady and then ends up knocking her up.
Yeah.
So then he has the whole thing about, okay, I guess I gotta find a way to stay and then make it work. And it's funny. It is really funny. And yeah, he has to like give up his career here in the US and try and find work there. And yeah,
is it primarily humor, comedy?
What's that?
Is it trying to be a comedy? Or
I mean, there's a little bit of drama, but it's a comedy.
Okay.
And it's British. It's very British.
Right. Which makes it even better.
So it's just think of the odd duck American in everything British. Really, so yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, check it out. All right. Well, speaking of checking things out, we spent.
One other thing. Sorry, I somehow missed the first thing on my list. Bill Nye. It's Bill Nye Saves the World. Season 1 is also coming to Netflix next month. So like the 10th or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but hey, I just started watching some of the Bill Nye episodes again with my daughter, and those even as old and outdated as they are, they're still great and lots of fun. So hopefully this will be good too.
I suspect it'll be wonderful Bill Nye content.
I love Bill Nye. Yeah, I like him on Star Talk, right? He does that currently, right?
Yeah.
Can't say I've ever seen that. I haven't seen Bill Nye since early 90s.
Right.
He's gotten 80s. Old.
So. Wait, he's not eternally youthful?
No. He still wears the bow tie. Very classy. But no.
You know who else wears a bow tie and has gotten really old? Matthew Lesko. He's your go-to guy if you want to get money from the government.
Yeah, well,
I saw a picture of him the other day. I like him too.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of things we like, we spent 30 days.
We did.
We spent 30 days with HBO Now.
Or Go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did anybody else use Go? I didn't think anybody would. And that's the thing. Because I went into this doing a compare contrast. Because I was curious to see what the differences were between Go, which, if you're not familiar, HBO Go is the service where if you are a cable subscriber, you subscribe to an HBO tier package, whatever, you can authenticate and use it. And then HBO Now is the one that they put out for $14 for people that are not cable subscribers, which in itself is awesome. Because there were so many years where people that wanted to watch Game of Thrones, but they had to resort to kind of skirting the law because you could not subscribe to the streaming service if you weren't a cable subscriber. So, I mean, first things first, I want to know what you guys thought about signing up. The initial sign up, what were your thoughts?
It was the easiest thing in the entire universe. I just clicked on my Amazon link.
Okay.
And typed in HBO service and clicked subscribe, and that was it. Literally 3 clicks.
All right. What, Matt, you look like you got something to say on that.
Well, for me,
Matt's having a conniption. He's like,
For me, it was okay. Go to the website. Go get your credit card. Go sign up with the thing. Didn't have to verify my email address, thank goodness. But I did get the 30-day free trial, so this attempt didn't cost me a thing this time, and it was well worth the free trial.
Oh yeah. And Jimmy, I assume you did that on the Apple side, right? Was it just as easy?
Just as easy. You just click. As soon as you open up the app, you want to subscribe? Yes. Done.
Okay.
Oh, that's one thing. I did use. No, I didn't. I can't remember. I think I had to pull out the credit card because my credit card information. I actually got it technically subscribed through my Amazon. No, not my Amazon. My Android device. So it's actually on my Google Play as one of my.
And that's where mine differed because I was bewildered by this process because 90% of the time you just go to the website and then there's a thing and you can sign up and then you authenticate on your screen, whatever. I went to the website. You can't. It says, you have to do it through your device. But then I was left with the quandary, well, what device do I want to do it on? Which is going to be the easiest? Ended up going to my tablet. Because then my tablet was in the Android store, and then it popped up and said, "How do you want to pay for this?" I said, "AT&T bill," because I don't even want to deal with it. So that worked, which was fine. I mean, 30-day trial again. I mean, no cost. And then we'll get to the cancellation in a bit, but yeah, it was. I was a little confused because the thing that threw me off was you had to sign up for it on your device. Then you could set up the email and then you could log into their website. So this is the first time in order to log into their website, you had to subscribe through a third party. I thought that was kind of kludgy.
So you couldn't. There's no way you could, let's say you're a Windows guy, you don't have any devices, you just have a Windows laptop or PC. You can't sign up?
You have to choose what device you're signing up through, and I did not see a Windows option. Okay. Yeah. So you would have had to go to your phone or your tablet or your Roku or your Apple TV or, whatever. So I thought that was weird. It really was kind of unsettling. Because then you needed, even though you set it up on there, you had to set up the password. And that was the thing that really made me mad was if if I'd done it on the Roku like it wanted me to, I would have had to put in my email and create a password and do all that from the stupid remote. I don't want to do that.
No.
Which is why I ultimately ended up going to my tablet when I realized there was no way around it. And
yeah.
But I mean, okay. So we'll move on to the UI because over the last almost year, I've talked a lot about the HBO UI, and I want to see what you guys think without, without coloring, in regards to the UI itself, access, ease of use. What do you guys think? Thoughts?
I can give my thought.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's pretty well organized. I like the way, on the side, you'll have like, it'll have like featured, and that'll be a combination of all the various different types of content. And then it'll categorize all the content by, movies, series, sports, documentaries, all these different categories of content that's on there. And, for me, I mean, that's kind of how I like to watch TV. Am I in the mood for a series, like a TV show? Am I in the mood for a movie? Okay, I'll do that. Mm-hmm. Or I want to watch a documentary. Okay, yeah, let me see what's on there, right? So for me, I thought it was well organized, right? And then, if you want to do the regular search for something, you can do that too on there. And because, too, that it's integrated with Siri on the Apple TV, you can also search with Siri, and it'll bring back content there for you on the Apple TV with that as well. I would assume that you could probably do the same on other devices, too, like a Roku or a Fire TV. Probably has that search, that voice search function as well. But yeah, I thought the UI is probably one of the best I've used of any streaming device.
Interesting.
I certainly found it relatively easy to find things on the Amazon HBO integration. So again, I picked it up through Amazon, so it was super easy to subscribe to. I will tell you when we start talking about cancellation how easy it was to cancel, because I'll do it while we're talking. And see just how many clicks it takes. But as far as, finding stuff, when you go into your Amazon Fire TV, it's just like there's the HBO line where that shows you a bunch of stuff that they think you're going to be interested in from HBO. And it's relatively good. I've only watched a relatively limited amount of stuff because I just wasn't terribly interested in what HBO had to offer. That's kind of my contents summary. But what I did watch, it gives me good recommendations. And like mostly movies, those were all relevant to me and things that I was relatively interested in. Then I could actually click into like HBO and like select that channel or that service, and then it would give me a whole bunch of rows of different things sorted by kind of genres and stuff. And again, it kind of was weighted to like the newer stuff or the more popular stuff, the stuff that I was more interested in, to right up front. Now, finding like checking for a specific show was not terribly easy, but I could use the voice search and suddenly it becomes easy again. So
I used at first the Roku, and the Roku interface, it feels like the Roku, I have a Roku 3 and the Roku stick, the newer stick. Seems like a kind of well thought out version of the Roku interface, because Roku kind of has a certain look and feel to it, and it kind of has that look and feel to it. So, and it's fine, and they've got it very sensible, and it works well enough. It's still a little clunky on the Roku, but it's not bad, and it was fully functional, not a problem. Then put it on the Mi Box, and I love that interface. That Android interface is very slick. It's just like using an Android phone. It's super fast and smooth. You could find anything very easily. Using it to, while the playback controls on there are nice and simple. It's a very nice interface. I think I give it good points on both the Roku, because the Roku is what it is. and the Mi Box, because it's really, out of all the different services we've tried, maybe just as good as Netflix, and Netflix is stellar. So.
And and I'll start out with, there's a couple things that I've complained about over the last year, in the fact that I like their UI, the like kind of grid layout that, like you said, it's very Roku. Actually, it looks a lot, to me, it reminds me a lot of what the Amazon Fire OS kind of did, mine just being all HBO stuff. The top row is the featured stuff, the stuff they want you to see, and therein lies one of the very first problems. You guys probably didn't notice it because we're in a weird spot in the year where they don't really have anything new that new HBO shows that they're pushing. Last summer, I'll use as an example, Game of Thrones every Sunday led into by Silicon Valley. Two shows that they are really pushing. Game of Thrones would be there on the featured. Silicon Valley would be nowhere in there. And if you went down to comedies, originals, you would have to go all the way to the end of the list to find this new show that's a blockbuster that they are pushing, they want you to watch. There's no easy way to get to it because they didn't bother to put it up there. And it wasn't just Silicon Valley. I saw that they had that show where they followed the LA Rams through spring training, or whatever they call it, preseason. Same thing. And that one was impossible to find. It was like a reality show about sports, but you would have to go down to sports and dig through boxing. And it would be like buried behind boxing events from like 6 months ago. So, and then the other thing that always drove me crazy, they finally fixed it, but they always sorted everything in reverse so that the newest episode was first. And which is good if you're following a show. I started to see the virtue in that one with Westworld as I followed that from the first episode. So every week I just went there. But if something like Game of Thrones, where there's multiple seasons, you're starting at the newest episode of the newest season. That's why when Brian Brushwood watched Silicon Valley, he watched it in reverse and didn't realize it. He started with the last episode and was working backwards and couldn't figure out why the continuity seemed all weird. But they finally fixed that. Yet they still have the problem that they don't keep track of what episodes you watched.
No, they don't?
At least on the Roku and my Android devices, I go back and I'm constantly going, oh, crap. It's been like 6 months since I watched an episode of this show. Where was I at? And Game of Thrones is the worst. Because every episode sounds the same when you read the synopsis. So then you just start randomly and go, do I remember this? And you get halfway through the episode and go, oh no, I did see this. And then, that they still, after all this time, they still don't have like just a stupid bar or something to tell me, hey, I've watched this.
Yeah, they have that on the Apple TV.
Okay,
the
Apple TV does.
Did have that.
All right, so that's good to know that Apple TV's got that. And then I wish I would remember, like, when you sort it from reverse to forward, that was one thing that was always good, is even though it was default in reverse, they allowed you to change the way it sorted, but it doesn't remember your preferences. So every time you came in, you would have to redo it. If you exited out of the show, came back into the show, you would have to do it all over again. But they have switched that around now, which is nice. All in all, I mean, there's little things. It's the little things I think piss me off the most. But for the most part, it's fine.
And was that the Roku app, Clyde, that didn't keep track of the episodes?
And on my tablet, and on the website. And this is both on Go and Now. And that's the other thing I should say, is I went into this curious, what are the differences? And I'm surprised to say they look exactly the same.
And so you saw exactly no episode indicators there on either the Go or the Now that you were using?
Nope. Yeah.
Huh.
I remember seeing them on the Mi box, so
okay.
I
maybe
don't
it's
know.
on, yeah. So, I don't know. But yeah, that's one thing that's always bugged me. But it's a little thing that you just kind of go, I'm going to watch Westworld. I'm going to watch Silicon Valley. I'll deal with it. And
Michael,
I am
did
not
you watch
paying.
This on,
what's that?
I'm sorry. I was going to ask Michael. Michael, did you watch this on Fire TV?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And everything that we talked about interface-wise was the same for you?
Pretty similar. Yeah. I mean, I used the Fire TV and I used the computer itself. So I watched a few episodes here in the office. One episode in a movie, and I don't remember about like episode numbers, though. Obviously on the PC, it's super easy to find exactly what you're looking for because you can type with the keyboard and search, and it's much more intuitive. Though I will say, as you might expect with Amazon, as you try to search the HBO vault for movies, if it's not in the HBO ecosystem or the show isn't there, then they obviously are going to let you know that it's still available on Amazon Video. I definitely a way for you to buy that from us.
Yeah, maybe that's why Jeff Bezos is the second richest guy in the world, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And then, so I mean, with that aside, what do you guys think of the price? $14.99, I think it was, for access to HBO.
Well, I'll say this about the price, right? I guess you'd say it's on par for what, cable companies charge for the HBO service on cable television. That said, right, I have to say, I mean, I do love the HBO shows, and I do like, that you get the current movies a little sooner than what you would, on other services. But, I was thinking the way I thought about it when I thought about price is that I think, I compare the $15 a month that I pay for HBO and compare that to Netflix, who's getting pretty dang close on original content, as HBO. I mean, for me, the better value you get from Netflix, really. I mean, if I'm just honest, right? But, I still like the HBO shows. I've been a subscriber for a while, and I'm going to remain a subscriber. But, if Netflix gets just a little bit, better, then maybe I'll become a part-time subscriber to HBO and still remain a full-time subscriber to Netflix.
Yeah, I felt like for $15 a month, it costs more than Netflix, and I had a hard time convincing myself to go to the HBO solution versus Netflix. There's so much less content in total, and I don't know if it's because of what I'm accustomed to and what I'm aware of, that I have never had HBO. I'm very aware of certain shows like Game of Thrones, The Sopranos and stuff like that, The Wire, things like those shows, Silicon Valley, that I hear about, but there's just nothing that really drives me to see them. I do want to see Game of Thrones because I've read most of the books, but just taking the time to do it when I'm already kind of committed to other shows, and there's, the complication of having young kids in the family and that stuff being like pretty much everything on HBO that I want to watch or that people tell me I need to watch, I can't watch with kids around. Like,
they have Sesame Street now.
I know.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, that's a bit of a problem for me. And that made it hard for me to watch much. My kids watched a couple of movies. I watched a few movies, watched a couple of episodes of Silicon Valley, which I found enjoyable, but it didn't grab me right away. And that makes it hard for me to step away from the other options that I have to do it. So $15 a month, A, it's more than Netflix. B, there's a lot less. And C, I just couldn't be bothered. So no, not a good deal to me.
So for me, it is actually a wonderful experience as far as what is worth $15 a month. We went ahead and we didn't watch a lot of the HBO produced shows. Actually, we went a lot to the back catalog and went to a lot of the movies that are available, and the different documentaries. We watched a couple of things that were HBO based, but we really liked the fact that we could pull up some stuff that we just didn't have access to before because it was in different catalogs. Also, because HBO's standard practice of moving newer content in every month means every month is some new movies are coming for us to see that we haven't seen before. It felt really nice because it feels like sometimes the existing stuff that's been on Netflix feels stale after a while. So we actually decided, right now, since we're just trying this out, we kind of like it. We might consider either keeping it on, or more likely we'll come back to it when we've actually cut the cord, because we're still looking at all our options, and we think that this would be an excellent source of new movies and new content. And yeah, we know we can't watch a lot of it when the kid's around, but we liked it. What we got, we can get, especially out of that back catalog.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head with come back to it. Because if I didn't have HBO Go, if I didn't have access to HBO Go, I probably wouldn't have HBO at all. Mainly because we've established I'm not a big movie guy. I'm mainly, as far as HBO goes, I'm interested in the HBO content, like the Game of Thrones kinda, but Westworld's great. The Silicon Valley, a couple other shows, but I'm not going to pay, like Amazon, I wouldn't pay $14 a month during the months that don't have the content that I want to watch. So this would end up being, just like I do with Amazon, would be the one where I'd wait for stuff to build up and then sign up for a month, binge, and then I can turn it off, and I can always turn it back on again. And that's the nice thing, because it's easy. They made the sign up easy. And you can turn it on, turn it off anytime you want. Don't have to, really jump through too many hoops, which we'll get to here in a second. And then, disconnecting. So, Matt, did you disconnect it, or are you letting it renew for one?
So, I have a calendar reminder to remind me tonight to go ahead and unsubscribe. I'm curious. I just didn't want to do it early in case they're the kind of company that you unsubscribe. Okay, you're not going to watch it anymore, even though I was supposed to get 30 days. So we'll find out.
And actually, no. And I'll show you here in a second. But no, they because I canceled mine a couple days ago. And actually, here I'll go to this screen. So if you look. I don't know how well you guys can see it there, but on the screen, it took me a few minutes to figure out how, because I've never subscribed to anything through Google Play before. And I had to go to Google and say, how do I unsubscribe from HBO Now? But the thing that really blew my mind is with Android, if you go into the Play Store, you look up the app, you'll see right there, this is the app that I can download, and right below it, it's got my subscription. I can just click on that, and it takes me to the page that says, what do you want to do? Do you want to change stuff? Do you want to unsubscribe? And I thought that was brilliant from Google's standpoint, that they made that available. It's not hidden. It's not buried. It made so much sense. I never even would have considered looking for it there.
Yeah. I've got a similar experience with the Amazon store. So I can just go to the Amazon page and click on the link for your video subscriptions, and it shows me what I currently have, and right there, HBO, cancel subscription. I click, it brings up a pop-up. Are you sure you want to end your HBO subscription? It says it will expire on April 15th, so I know that I'll get the rest of what I paid for. Hit cancel subscription. I'm not, it asks you to sign in to validate, and there it is. It's canceled. So it's, pretty sweet. And then if I wanted to restart, I can click restart, and it'll stay there after I'm done so that I can restart it in 6 months or whatever. So it's 3 clicks, super easy. I'm a big fan of utilizing Amazon for your subscription management. It makes it super easy to find your stuff, integrates it especially nicely onto your Fire TV, and starting and stopping them is a total breeze.
Oh, let me just add one thing that I didn't note, Matt. If you look there where it says my app subscription, down at the bottom it says that I have access to it until 4/2/17. So that's nice. That right there, didn't have to go look and see when it expires. It's right there in the forefront.
Right. While you were talking about it, I went ahead and just did it on my phone. I'm unsubscribed now. It was really simple.
And
I just had to find it.
Absolutely top notch. Love it. What do you think, Jimmy?
Go H.
Yeah, I mean, as far as canceling, I'm not canceling. I'm keeping it. Right? So
you're pulling a mic.
Yeah.
All right, rock
on. So I'm keeping it because I like getting the newer movies. Right. I mean that's the one thing that Netflix you don't get on Netflix is the newer movies that you do get on HBO. Being that I am a cord cutter now and don't pay for cable television. Yeah, the extra $14 is okay, right? Or $15, whatever it is. And then, so to get those newer movies, I'm willing to pay that extra $15 a month to have the HBO content.
I get where you're coming from. I do agree the movies are nice, and most of what I watched through HBO was the movies. I gotta say, one thing that's kind of great here is that, and while I don't think it's a good deal for me personally, when I look about what I got for my cable subscription, you don't get very much. Well, rather you get an abundance of stuff, mostly not what you want. And then when you want things like HBO, you pay the extra $10 or $15 a month to get it. Well, here, I feel like with cord cutting, getting the things that I want, I net less expensive, and I could get HBO and still be way cheaper than I was paying for my cable subscription. So, while I'm not doing it right now, I could see myself navigating the Amazon Prime store in 3 months, seeing a movie or two that appeals to me, and just doing it. Or say I'm going to be home alone. My kids go on vacation with my wife. They do that about once a year. They'll go up to visit her parents for a week without me. And I could sign up and watch Game of Thrones, binge Game of Thrones for the week that they're gone. And that would totally be worth it. So in the right circumstances, I think this is totally worth it. And for other people, it probably is. It's just,
Yeah, and let me, I'll clarify that I don't think the price is bad. The price, all in all, for what you get is a fair price. A lot of people will be like me and look at it and evaluate what all am I going to get out of it. And from what I'm going to draw from it, 14 is kind of steep. Because, like I said, like we pointed out, where I'm comparing it at this as the same as like Amazon, $10, Hulu, I'm paying about $10, Netflix, $12. So I mean, it's more, and I'm not getting as much from it as I do from Hulu. Or if Hulu was $15, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna pay it because I get a huge amount of content from there. So I'm not able to justify it, but I could see how someone else who is desperately in love with the HBO content and loves movies, yeah, I totally get why they would pay that.
Yeah, I mean, and I think I'm with you guys. I mean, if you was somebody to like, well, my budget can only handle one streaming service, I don't think I'd pick HBO to be that one streaming service, right? I mean, definitely the pick would be Netflix, right? Perhaps maybe Hulu, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not HBO. HBO is an add-on premium service, just like it is with cable TV, right?
Yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason when they talk comparisons, they compare Hulu, Amazon Prime, and Netflix, and they don't include HBO. Because just like in cable TV, HBO is its own animal. And it's not, it's apples to onions in that regard. So now HBO, you could compare that to like Stars or to Showtime, because they're kind of the same style of platform. They're and which we will have to do at some point, but yeah.
I mean, to me, it's like prepaying for rented movies is kind of what I view HBO as, right? So with the HBO subscription, then I don't have to rent all that many movies either from Amazon or from iTunes, right?
Yeah, and I feel like I got my money's worth. I watched a number of movies, and if I would have rented those movies, I would have paid more than my total HBO subscription, and let alone the episodes that I watched of the TV show. So it was a good deal. I had to consciously say, I want to take advantage of this HBO subscription so that I can make sure I test it for the show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that is the real kicker for me. It's like, I wouldn't have even looked at these shows because I have plenty of other resources that are kind of more in my stream right now. And so that's the big thing for me. And primarily Poodle Puncher, I agree with you.
Yeah. Well, rock on. Then I think that's. Does anybody have any thoughts? Anything we didn't cover specifically?
Well, I can tell you that there may have been family members that don't live here who borrowed the trial and watched also other movies on it. So it was kind of interesting to flipping through and go, "Hey, did you watch?" "No, I didn't watch." "Oh." Okay.
It's not there. There's certain things that it's kind of creepy when you see that. Oh, someone watched a certain thing, and you go, I kind of wish I could unsee that.
Yeah.
What can I guess? Was it under the late night?
No, actually, it was like a weird, bizarre zombie western something.
Oh, I was thinking it was like under the late night, like the old real. Yeah.
Thankfully, no, not this time. It was just like
it's like seeing.
It looked really B movie. That's all we were looking at each other.
I was thinking along the lines of sstumbling across your elderly father's search history.
Right.
Well, that would be Showtime, right? But
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't either. But
anyways, I had a similar experience with Netflix when I visited my brother-in-law a couple of years ago. Used Netflix on his TV with my account and then left, and of course it was still signed in. And so then you start getting weird shows popping up in your recently watched thing, and you're like,
because you recently watched this, let's suggest this. It's like, no.
Before they started doing, or at least far enough back that I hadn't set up profiles, and so then like all of my recommendations start tainting, and I'm like, no.
Yep. And one thing I forgot to mention is this is one of the few scenarios where I actually like the fact Amazon's infrastructure where they take the stuff out of the app and put it into theirs. They try to keep you in there. This is the one time that I actually kind of like that, because on the Roku, you go into the HBO app, you're in the HBO app, and like I was saying, I have trouble finding the thing I want to watch sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas on the Fire TV, once I've watched that, then it shows up in that row. I said something. But yeah, so then you don't have, that eliminates that whole search, because I know I say, I want to watch the new episode of Game of Thrones. Boom, it's right there, like the last 5 things that I've watched, right? So, the other thing, HBO, they need a queue. After all this time, there still is no queue.
There's a watch list.
But you have to manually add and remove stuff from there.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't just add the show, because like Netflix, you go into your shows and it's got the shows that you like to watch in one place. You go into it, then find your episode. No, this is an episode by episode. Their watch list is an episode by episode thing, and you can add an entire series to that, but you have to remember to go in and remove them after you've watched them. Yeah, it's kind of kludgy, so they really need to get with it in that regard. But I can say the same thing about Showtime and Stars. So, yeah. All right. Any other thoughts before we rate this puppy?
No.
All right.
I think we said it all.
All right. Then, so what do you guys think? I'm gonna, despite my misgivings, I will give it a solid thumb up. I know, surprising.
I'm going to go thumbs up. I think it's totally worth it for a good section of people. Mm-hmm. I, as I said before, I will not continue paying for it, but I could see myself coming back to it at times in the future. It's not going to be a mainstay, but it's something that I'll probably do off and on over the years when there's just something that I really want to see, or when I'm ready to binge some movies for a month or two.
And I too will give it a thumbs up. However, I will give the caveat though, if you are a value shopper and you just want the best bang for your buck, Netflix is a better bang for the buck, right? I mean, just for cut cording in general, but yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of the HBO content, and I do like getting the new movies every month. So, thumbs up.
So it costs the same as it would cost normally to get it on from your cable subscription, except for it doesn't require a cable subscription. Mm-hmm. And you can watch it almost anywhere, not just where your cable is. Yep. And you can watch like multiple people at the same time, and you don't have to wait for the show that you want to watch to come on at the time you want to watch it. You just watch it because it's streamed live, and yeah, thumbs up.
And there's the added feature that we didn't even mention. If you're the kind of guy that loves to spoil stuff for people, this is the service. Because when the show goes live on TV, it goes live on the streaming on demand.
Password.
Which means you can jump to the end. Everybody's just getting through the credits, and you can be like, "Oh, Jon Snow came back to life," and everybody's like, "Oh, you damn it!" Yeah.
Guess who dies today?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why if you like the HBO shows, you need to avoid Twitter until you have finished watching the episode. Yeah. But rock on. We will need to figure out what we're going to do next.
Well, spring is coming.
Spring is coming.
About time.
Yeah. I don't know. And then Jimmy, you are gone next week. You're going away. So we're going to
going up to Georgia. Matter of fact, I'll be on the plane or just getting off the plane by the time you guys start the show next week.
So, yeah, if you're going up to Georgia, Fitz says he'll take you out for waffles. So
Oh, excellent. Yeah, they have restaurants up there called the Waffle House. Actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think he works at one.
Pretty sure.
Which is why he would take you out for waffles. But
Oh, okay.
but yeah, so we will have to.
You can't visit Georgia without going to a Waffle House. It would be a crime.
Yeah.
Usually I do, but I go up there.
So yeah, so we'll have to see if we can find someone that can fill Jimmy's extra large shoes. Take that any way you want. But yeah, anything, guys, non-HBO related you want to mention before we shut this thing down?
I would like to mention that I'm probably going to be trying to do another episode of my my own channel, my own show, which is Talking Nerdy. I haven't done one in a while because I've been busy and I've been having family over, I'm in the guest room right now, so they're usually in here now, especially at the hour I want to stream my show. In this next episode, I've got a couple subjects, but one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk Dungeons and Dragons and how you can make a railgun with some peasants. And a 10-foot pole. It's actually
Did you say peasants?
Yes.
As in poor people?
Yes. You just got to get them lined up and tell them all to do something.
How long is a 10-foot pole?
I was understanding because usually peasants is not maybe that's not politically correct.
It's Dungeons and Dragons.
Genre specific.
I need to be visiting you because I don't have peasants. Didn't realize you were royalty or whatever.
If you want to see what I'm talking about, you can actually look it up. The peasant railgun is a real thing people have talked about. I just love the idea of messing with the idea of how the game works.
Do these peasants live in thatched roof cottages?
They may not.
That can be burninated by Trogdor.
They may not.
All right.
Burninator.
Yeah. So, all right. Anybody else? One of these days, I'm going to actually know about your show ahead of time so I can tune in.
Well, next time I'm planning on doing it, I'll make sure and send you some type of text, let you know that's going to happen. And if you want it, you can join me.
Maybe. I don't know if I'd be any help with the Dungeons and Dragons one because I have never played.
Oh, it's okay. Then I could explain it because I have to explain it anyways.
Okay. Someone tried to get me to play that vampire game once, and I was I was mad because we had to pick a character, and I'm like, I don't get this. I said, "Ooh, basilisk. Can I be a basilisk?" And they said no. I said, "Why can't I be a basilisk?" And then I was stuck on that, and I was just angry.
Vampire the Masquerade?
Yeah, something like that.
Was it a LARP version, a live action?
No, but I actually went to a hotel to visit somebody that was doing that, and I had to wear a thing around my neck saying not participating because people kept coming up and trying to bite me. And I was like, I don't like this.
I went, the only time I've ever done a LARPing session was a Vampire the Masquerade LARPing session, and it was interesting to say the least.
They literally rented out the hotel.
Last time
they overran this entire hotel, so they had to rent the whole place out. So it was pretty crazy.
This one was at a guy's house, but it was a large group. I mean, 20 people at his house, and it was crazy. The amount of herbal items consumed was ridiculous, and
vampires do not imbibe.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. I get migraines whenever I'm around marijuana smoke, so that was problematic for me. So
I feel your pain.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have anything else, Jimmy? Before we go?
No.
Okay.
No, I think that's it. That's all
right.
I have to say, I think.
Well, then I guess that is it. Out in the chat room, Fitz and Jotmon, thanks for keeping it lively. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. This is, I guess this is it. Anybody out there, if you want to catch our past episodes, we are available on YouTube. Just do a search for the VOD Squad. We will be back next week, as with every week, Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central on DiamondClub.tv. Thanks to the Jotmon for the opening video. Thanks for Sergeant Muffin for all his help with the place to do our show. And thank you all for tuning in. I guess I bid you guys adieu.
See you guys.
Laters.